Hey everyone, so welcome back to my life, I guess. Should probably fill you in on what happened last week. Remember how Gatsby came to my house and said, "Get in the car"? Well, about halfway to the city, he looks at me and says, "So what's your opinion of me?"
My opinion is that he's a little too vague about where his money comes from, and that side business of his? What is that? Especially after what he said last night.
So I'm sitting in the car just like, what do you say to a question like that?
I'm really ticked off.
You weren't even there. So he says to me, "I don't want you to get the wrong opinion of me, so I'm going to tell you the truth, and I swear it's the truth." He said that he grew up in the Midwest with his family who just died and gave him all of their money. He was educated in Oxford, and his family had been there for generations. And at that point, I look at him and say, "Oh, you're from the Midwest? What part?" And he says, "San Francisco." And I'm thinking, okay, do you even know where the Midwest is?
And he followed that by saying he lived all over Europe, collecting jewelry, hunting big game, painting, and trying to forget. He mentioned some cities like London, Paris, Venice,
Rome, Moscow, Prague, Helsinki. Basically every big city in Europe.
No one moves city to city like that without a reason.
So we continued into the city and we pull up to this really sketchy place called Cellar 42, and the inside was just as sketchy as the outside. But then we went into the back room and it was pretty fancy. This guy greeted us. I'm just gonna be blunt, he looked like a criminal. And then it hit me that even after his long-winded explanation of himself, I still knew nothing about Gatsby.
People say that's why his house is so big. It's full of secrets.
So then he introduces me to this guy named Mayor Wolfsheim. Two things. He definitely was not the mayor, and I did not like him.
Don't like him.
He was shifty.
Shifty even.
I mean, this guy was just creepy all over.
Homie be straight trippin', yo.
So I was trying to think where I had heard his name before, and then I remembered that there was this big-time drug lord who basically runs the city. They call him the Wolf. Coincidence?
I think not.
So then I'm a little suspicious of this guy. I've heard a lot of things about the Wolf.
I hear he has insiders in the police.
I hear he runs dogfights.
I hear he does car commercials. In Japan.
So we're sitting at lunch, and at one point he pulls up a picture of him and his buddies at Oxford. So I basically believe everything he said. She doesn't.
I don't. He's a nice guy, but his story is way too extraordinary. I mean, it seems impossible to pack all that grandeur into one person.
Well, I still believe him. But the weird part is when we left, we ran into Tom. So I turned to introduce Gatsby to Tom, but Gatsby was gone. Like, he must have really booked it to get away that fast. I saw him later that night, and he told me to speak to Miss Baker about a message he promised to give me. And then he left.
And way to go, Gatsby. You chose a really good messenger because I totally forgot. Oh, I totally forgot.